Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président, chers compatriotes, Excellencies. The Forum on Minority Issues was established in 2007 by the Human Rights Council in its Resolution 615, and its importance reaffirmed in 2012 through Council Resolution 1923. The Forum is created to provide a platform for promoting dialogue and cooperation on issues pertaining to national or ethnic, religious and linguistic minorities, and to provide thematic contribution and expertise to the work of my mandate. In return, I'm tasked with guiding the work of the Forum. The 17th session of the Forum took place in Geneva on the 28th and 29th of November 2024. The theme of the Forum, as was said, was the representation and self-representation of minorities in public spaces and discourses. In particular, discussions focus on reducing biases, countering discrimination, and enhancing the visibility of minorities in public spaces, education, the media, as well as in art and culture. Almost 790 participants from 96 countries registered for the Forum, which is the highest number of registration since the Forum was established. Participants included representatives of states, United Nations bodies, regional human rights organizations, national human rights institutions, and other relevant national bodies, as well as minority groups and non-governmental organizations, and academics and experts on minority issues. Despite these positive figures, it is my duty to inform you that the organization of the Forum becomes an increasingly difficult endeavor. Financial constraints endanger the proper organization of future editions. Without the extraordinary dedication of OHCHR staff, interns from the University of Geneva and volunteers, the Forum would already be in peril. I therefore call on states to allocate appropriate resources through voluntary contribution to ensure the perpetuation of the Forum. As all of you, I am very aware of the difficult period the multilateral system is facing. This situation constitutes all the more a reason to ensure that the diversity of minority voices can continue to be heard and contribute to the shaping of creative and innovative answers to today's challenges. Recognizing the critical role of representation of minorities in societies, the 17th edition of the Forum advocated for the importance and benefits of self-representation. It explored, on the one hand, the challenges faced by minorities in achieving fair representation, including the issue of invisibility, scapegoating, hate speech, discrimination and violence, as well as misrepresentation and the prevalence of negative stereotypes. And on the other, on the societal impact of such biased representation and the broader implication for societal cohesion were highlighted. Monsieur le Président, Excellencies, at the end of 2 intensive days of debate, 5 main recommendations emerged from this session of the Forum. First, states should recognize the importance of minority groups and their contribution for the creation of flourishing and stable societies. They should respect, protect, and celebrate diversity as a genuine way to contribute to societal cohesion. Second, states should implement inclusive and urban planning policies that prioritize the integration of culturally significant spaces for minority groups. Therefore, displaying minority languages in public spaces and adopting toponymic practices that use minority traditional appellation and minority language needs to be common practice. Further, accessible and inclusive public facilities that respect cultural and religious practices need to be designated, for example, by providing spaces for prayer or meditation, as well as culturally appropriate amenities. Third, in education, states should adapt national curricula to incorporate the histories, language, culture, and achievement of minority groups, ensuring that their history and their contribution to society as a whole are an integral part of mainstream programs. Educational reforms should follow a human rights-based approach, fostering respect, understanding, and intercultural dialogue, while promoting a more inclusive national narrative. Fourth, concerning minority representation in the media, states should establish diversity requirements for public broadcasters and offer support to minority-led media outlets and production, including appropriate funding. Further, such positive measures need to be complemented by legislation to prohibit hate speech in traditional and social media. It is also essential to monitor and correct algorithmic biases in social media platforms in order to prevent the amplification of discriminatory narratives and negative stereotypes. Fifth, states, private sponsor, and civil society organizations should encourage artistic collaborations between minority and majority artists. Such initiative can foster mutual understanding, challenge stereotypes, and celebrate cultural diversity through shared creative expression. State should ensure appropriate funding to minority artists and cultural actors, as well as for the establishment of networks and exchange programs that facilitate the sharing of knowledge, tradition, and creative strategies among artists, minority groups, and institutions. To conclude, I am pleased that the Forum on Minority Issues continues to spark interest of an ever-growing number of participants from all regions of the world. I also appreciate that the 17th session took place in a less tense climate than some of the previous sessions, favoring constructive exchanges between the participants. I am committed to continue to strengthen the forum to ensure that it is a space of fruitful and constructive dialogue, not only focusing on challenges faced by persons belonging to minorities, but also highlighting their positive contribution to society as a whole. I am therefore asking for 3 concrete steps from new countries to support the continuing success of the forum. First, by ensuring that appropriate funding is allocated to the forum. Second, a voluntary fund to sponsor the participation of minorities from regions that are currently underrepresented in the forum would help increase its representativity. Third and finally, you yourselves, ensuring an active participation of the state you represent to the yearly edition of the forum is a crucial step to keep this broadly representative forum fulfilling its mission. I thank you for your attention.